Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Ma'am Anissa Astrid, STMPD, as the lecturer of Seminar and Research Proposal course. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bella Karista from PBI2. In this opportunity, I'm going to explain about the research design of my research. So the first, I will tell you about the title of my research. The title is The Effect of Using Storytelling on Improving Student Speaking Skill at 7th grade students of SMP LTI IGM Palembang. And then in this research, the researcher would like to answer these questions. The first is, does the implementation of storytelling can improve student speaking skill at 7th grade student of SMP LTI IGM Palembang? The second is, what components of speaking is most influenced by storytelling? And the last is, what are the students' perception towards the implementation of storytelling to improve student speaking skill? And then the objective of this research, in accordance with the research problems, so the objective of this research are the first, to find out whether the implementation of storytelling can improve student speaking skill at 7th grade student of SMP LTI IGM Palembang. The second is to find out the component of speaking that is most influenced by storytelling, and the last is to find out the student's perception towards the implementation of storytelling to improve student speaking skill. And then I would like to explain about the significance of the study. So this research is aimed to give some contribution to English teaching and learning. So for the first is for students. The research is aimed to improve student speaking skill by using storytelling strategy. And then for the teacher, this research is expected to be useful to support teaching and learning activities as an effort to improve student speaking skill, and then to inform the teacher that storytelling strategy is one of the teaching strategy that can be used to improve student speaking skill. And then the last is for researcher. This research is aimed to be reference for another researcher if they would like to study about the effect of using storytelling to improve student speaking skill. Okay, and then I'm going to explain about the research method. Okay, so this research is quantitative study. So what is quantitative study? According to Sugiono in 2012, quantitative study has some characteristics as follow. The first is, the data is collected by using research instruments. The second is, the data are in the form of statistics and numbers which are arranged in tables, figures, or chart. And then the last is, the aim is to test the predetermined hypothesis. So why the researcher choose quantitative study as the research design in this research? Okay, so based on the criteria of the quantitative study, I think quantitative study is appropriate with the research title. And then in this research, the researcher have set the hypothesis, and then the hypothesis would be proved by using the quantitative study. And then in quantitative study, there are several types, and in this research, the researcher choose experimental method. What is experimental method? Experimental method is used to determine whether a particular treatment given to the students influence the result of the research or not. So the reason why I choose experimental method, because in accordance with the definition of experimental method, so in this research I use experimental method in order to know whether the treatment that I will give to the students will affect the outcomes of the student. So here the treatment is storytelling strategy, and then it is expected to influence the student's speaking skill. So in experimental method, The students are divided into two groups. The first is experimental group and the second is control groups. In experimental group, the students will be given post-test and pre-test, and then they will be taught by using storytelling strategy. And then for the control group, the students will only the researcher will only give the pre-test and post-test without any treatment. And then the variable of the research. In this research, there are two kinds of variable. They are independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable is a variable that gives influence to the outcome of the students. And then the dependent variable is a variable that receives the influence by the independent variable. So in this research, the independent variable is storytelling, because storytelling is expected to give influence or to influence the student's speaking skill. And then the dependent variable of this research is student speaking skill, because this aspect will be influenced by the storytelling strategy. And then the setting. So this research will be conducted at SMP LTI IGM Palembang, where SMP LTI IGM Palembang is located at Jalan Kolonel H. Burulian KM 9.5, and it is in front of Asrama Haji Palembang. The school is built with a vision to become a center of science for the development of human resources in accordance with their fields of expertise. So the reason why researchers choose this school as a place to conduct this research is because this school is one of the favorite private schools in Palembang, which has a special curriculum and excellent programs, where in implementing the curriculum, students are trained to develop English language skills and mastery of technology. So therefore, the researchers think that storytelling strategy can help students to develop their speaking skill at SMP LTI IGM Palembang. And then the subject of the research. So the population of this research is 7th grade students of SMP LTI IGM Palembang, and then the sample is 60 students from 60 students of 7th grade student of SMP LTI IGM Palembang. Why 60 students? Because the students will be divided into two groups, experimental groups and control groups. So each group consists of 30 students. And then the way researchers choose the sample of this research is by using simple random sampling. So the researcher will use SPSS to help to choose the students that will be the sample of this research. And then data collection. Okay, so in this research, the researcher used two kinds of instruments. They are test and questionnaire. This test is in the form of speaking test. Speaking test is used in order to know the student's speaking ability. So the test will be given twice. The first is pre-test and the second is post-test. Pre-test is used in order to know the student's speaking ability before the treatment, and then the post-test is used in order to know the student's speaking ability after the treatment, to know whether their competency is improved or not after the treatment is given. And then the speaking test will be in the form of oral performance test, and then it will be analyzed by using speaking rubric. And then the second is questionnaire. Questionnaire is one of tools that the researcher used in this research. questionnaire is used in order to know the students' perspectives towards the implementation of storytelling to improve student speaking skill. So in this questionnaire, it consists of 20 questions, and then the question will be analyzed by using a Likert scale. And then validity and reliability. What is validity and reliability? So, validity is measuring what is supposed to measure, and then reliability is the consistency of the information obtained. For example, when we do the test, the result of the first and the second test are similar, like that. So, in order to know whether the instruments used are valid and reliable, the researcher would try out the instruments to the 11th grade students of SMP LTI IGM who do not become the sample of the research, and then the data from the tryout will be analyzed by using SPSS. Okay, and then the last is data analysis. So in this research, to analyze the data from the test, the researcher will use the test. According to Sujana in 2002, this formula can be used by the researcher to calculate the mean score of the students. So the formula is X equivalence P Fi times Xi divided P Fi, where X means the mean score, and then Fi means frequency, Xi means middle score interval class, and Fi times Xi mean the amount of multiplication between the frequencies and the middle score of interval class. And then the second is analysis of the questionnaire. So here the researcher will use this formula. Actually, this formula is adapted from ANAS in 2002. So the formula is P equivalence F divided N times 100%, where P means percentage, F means frequency, and N means the number of sample. Okay, I think enough for my explanation. I'm very sorry for the mistakes that I've made, and thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.